and WNST. Ravens head out to Cincinnati. Joining us now from sometimes he's on the West Coast, sometimes he's on the East Coast, but he's always in the studio at the NFL Network and spent the preseason with the Ravens. He's our coach on behalf of the Living Classrooms Foundation and Maritime Magic coming up in 2 weeks. Go to livingclassrooms.org to learn more about that. And we got to sneak you in here. We're playing football in these 72-hour windows here, Coach Billick. This is we're all bullish when we win in week one, right? Everybody feels good week. Even the Jets fans are happy, right?
Yeah, it's funny, in an organization you spend the entire off season, training camp, OTAs, everything towards this first game, and confident everybody's going to the Super Bowl, and then Monday after the game, 50% of the league is in crisis mode. Oh my God, what do we do now? Where do we go from here? And as high as you are right now, then come Monday next week, half of those teams are going to lose. So it's an interesting emotional phenomenon that we go through.
Well, and I remember Luke and I were talking about this, and I don't know how well you recall games, because when I spend time with you privately, you're never talking to me about the 3rd and 1 cross you ran in some random Jacksonville game in 1998. We never had those kind of conversations, but I remember getting on the plane after Tampa. Was it 12 years ago, whatever it was? We went down there and just kicked the snot out of them on a 110-degree day to start the season. There's a point where you have to sort of temper that a little bit, when you win 47-3 on opening day?
You do, and you hear the coaches all the time. This is great, but now we're moving on. We're all about Cincinnati, or we're all about whoever your opponent is this week, and that's all well and good. You got to embrace the good thing, particularly on a short week. Someone asked me, okay, well, what do you do with this game? What do you do with this film? Well, on a short week anyway, you may not look at the previous game's film for a lot of different reasons. You're on a short week. You may just say, hey, you guys look at it on your own. We'll come back together, 3, 4, 5 o'clock on Monday, start our preparation for Cincinnati because it's a short week. After a game like that, it's a very good week to do that because the players will go back and look at that film. They want to look at it, a lot of good things. You may pull up 5 or 6 things on tape to say, now, guys, great game, nice job, but we can't make this mistake, particularly a tactical, if there's a tactical error. So, it is a short week, and that changes the idea of what it is you're going to try to get done because it is the short week.
Well, you got to like the way they looked, right? I don't, 3 days to shoot it and pick it apart and whatever. I mean, I can find some bad in there somewhere, but the good is everybody played. Lamar Jackson got, certainly the good is you get 3 days to prepare where Flacco, Yanda, a lot of your guys didn't really get beaten up all that much on a day when the weather was kind of beating people up a little bit as well. But I don't know if there's anything to feel bad about, and everybody got a little piece of it. Everybody made a tackle. Everybody got a catch. Everybody got the ball. That's not a bad place to be in week one.
No, you couldn't script a better week one opening, and the Ravens, particularly going into a short week, and Cincinnati having to be pushed to the mat, so to speak, on the road against Indianapolis. This bodes well for the Ravens. Everything about it you like. It was interesting to look at the game. I actually was at the Minnesota 49er game. They were honoring the 98 team. So it wasn't until I came home and I get all the tape via the network to do my analysis stuff for my show, on Playbook. And so to actually look at the tape, and it was amazing to see. Now, the flip side of it is I can't imagine. I understand that Buffalo did not want to start Josh Allen. I don't know that as much as I advocate starting a rookie to get as many snaps as you can on the road in Baltimore against that defense, I don't know that I would start Josh Allen either. I, for the life of me, don't know what Buffalo thinks they see in Peterman. This guy can't play in the NFL.
Well, I mean, it's kind of amazing that they gave McCarron away. I mean, everybody I talked to in Buffalo last week is like, well, Peterman outplayed McCarron in the preseason. I'm like, I've seen McCarron go out and give them a real chance give the Bengals a real chance to win. I don't know what it means with Buffalo with different components, but to sort of trade away, it really feels like they're just throwing in the towel or playing it out, trying to get the number one pick. I don't know what it is, but it certainly felt like they weren't trying to win.
Well, they were trying to win. I just don't understand what they see. And he must be really good in practice, I guess. I don't know. Because in games, this guy, and Josh Allen I can't imagine them not starting him this week and going forward because they need to get him as many reps as possible because Nathan Peterman ain't it.
Coach Brian Billick can be followed at Coach Billick out on Twitter. He is our partner on behalf of the Living Classrooms Foundation. You can learn more at livingclassrooms.org. The big Maritime Magic coming up 2 weeks from now. We are praying for no hurricanes that weekend here outdoors. We'll get down to Fells Point and party the night away. You can learn more at livingclassrooms.org. And this is certainly the one thing that you can stroke a check and go do. That is awesome for Living Classrooms. So make sure you're doing that over the next 2 weeks. Coach, for me with the Bengals and where both of these organizations have been in the offseason, where the sky's falling, the quarterback's not good enough, the coach needs to go, all of that stuff that you hear that's noise, both of these franchises feel pretty good about themselves, and I think that the Bengals were a little sloppier in the first half. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but with the Ravens blowing out the Bills, I moved to the back televisions, and I got a chance to watch the good side of the Bengals. I saw them put a lot of points on the Colts at the end and then thwart the comeback by luck, but the Browns and the Steelers are also better, or I say the Browns are better, the Steelers don't look better at all, but it feels like the division has come to the center in a way that I don't know that it's really maybe ever been, right?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of knew there were the extremes, Pittsburgh on one end, Cincinnati or Cleveland on the other, and kind of Baltimore and Cincinnati in the middle. And I agree, the extremes have kind of come back to the middle. Baltimore and Cincinnati, I agree. Cincinnati ended up being a good day for him. Andy Dalton looked really, really good. Joe Mixon looked like he is really beginning to get his stride as a running back. He had almost 100 yards rushing. And then the receiving, that Mixon had 5 receptions. A.J. Green went off for almost 100 yards. Tyler Eifert was involved. So offensively, they looked like they had a little bit of a groove going. But Pittsburgh, God knows where Pittsburgh is. They're in their typical up and down. And Cleveland looked better. No question, Cleveland looked better. You got to give them credit. They're still fighting through the fact that they're the mentality of 131-1. But I would agree with you 100%. I think everything's kind of come back to the middle, which is going to make this opening round where Baltimore is in Cincinnati this week, and in 2 weeks they're in Pittsburgh. It's going to be an interesting month.
Well, I know you've talked so much about Le'Veon Bell as being one of the best players in the league, and we've talked about that the last couple of years. For that offensive line and for that snit that happened very, very publicly. Coach, I was seeing the quotes come out on Twitter out of Pittsburgh for the people, the Ed Bouchettes and the people that I know that cover the team. They've never seen anything like that. You've been at this a long time. I saw jaws open. I mean, like Kurt Warner and Michael Irvin, I saw them talking about it before the game, and it was just sort of like, I have never heard anything like that. Then last week we would have said, well, how does it affect the team? How does it affect the game? Well, I don't know, but they didn't look like the Steelers and you're sort of urinating a game away against the Browns, right?
Yeah, that was, I agree. I don't know that I've ever seen that where you see, because typically when it comes to contract players, because, hey, that could be me in a year. So they just kind of stay out of it. And, even the coaches kind of go, well, I'm going to coach who's here, and when he's here, he's here, and you just kind of hold it at arm's length. You don't get drawn into it. There is no upside in getting drawn into it. So to see the players come out, particularly the offensive linemen, and kind of challenge late. Now they're frustrated. They want him in camp. They know how good he is. They've got this window because of where Ben is and whatever, and they're frustrated with it. And and if nothing else, okay, yeah, maybe we can beat Cleveland without him. But then the next week, when does he come in, and how long does it take to get him to that rhythm? This is not good. And even Mike Tomlin, in an honest moment, said, "Yeah, I'm worried about how this is going to affect my team." So you're absolutely right. This is very unprecedented for a team to speak out that way, talking about the teammates. And then he'll come back and they'll be all lovey. Oh yeah, fine, we're good. But when the what hits the fan and there's some difficulty, that's when you're really going to find out where this team's at.
Head coach Brian Billick can be joined anytime, anywhere on the NFL Network, as well as Coach Billick out on Twitter on behalf of the Living Classrooms Foundation here with us in Maritime Magic, where the Whalers will be playing the music of Bob Marley into the night. And I'm looking forward to that 2 weeks from now as well. And I'm looking forward to Red Zone, Coach. You used to have to travel around it. You're still going out to the network in the middle of the week, but you have your own studio thing on Sunday. But there's nothing like watching all these games. And with the Ravens playing on Thursday, I get the Sunday efforts here. I loved week one. I love the Aaron Rodgers story. And it is amazing that it only takes 60 minutes of football for all of these organizations to go one way or another and for all of us to have some sort of feeling about things. But you pulling out games at the end and having the Jets pull away, so many good stories in week one.
There are. And what I look at is in week one, you get a sense of, okay, are teams continuing on where they left off, whether good or bad? To revalidate, yeah, I was at the Minnesota 49er game and seeing that game, and it was, okay, yeah, Minnesota, this defense is what it has been, and they're going to be real good. So you're validating those types of things. The Rams, that offense, led the league in scoring, and you saw what they did last night, or I should say on Monday night, then it's yes, okay, yeah, we know the Rams are going to be good that way. And on the flip side of that, Oakland struggled on defense, and yeah, they're probably going to struggle on defense again. So you get kind of a revalidation of where we're at. And then there's a couple, I think the Redskins are going to be an interesting story. Alex Smith and the efficiency of Alex Smith to go on the road against an Arizona team, we don't know how good they are, and Adrian Peterson having almost 100 yards, Alex Smith throwing for better than 250 and 2 touchdowns. You know, okay, you talk about something that's maybe changing. Washington's going to be a very interesting team to watch, I think.
Yeah, that disappoints me greatly, as you know. You know, I was giving some Redskins fans a hard time saying, you know, last place on the first day, and now, you know, they win. By the way, Dallas looks like they stink, huh?
Well, with Dallas, and again, you know, you came in with the questions, okay, with the changes they're going through, can they run the ball and can Dak Prescott perform on third down for them? That's really what it's going to come down to, and those are the questions. And in the first game, you got some answers, all but a first game. They were 2 of 11 on third down. So if they're going to be good, they're going to have to run the ball better than they did, and Dak Prescott's going to have to step up and show he is indeed that guy.
How do you feel when a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick that's been passed around like a rubber ball and you've had to comment on him, good, bad, and ugly, and the money and all of that, gets a chance to go win one with Smitty down in Tampa? I mean, I looked up and saw that. I'm like, wow, look at those numbers, right?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to watch because you could get the sense that Dirk Cutter, you know, he called it Fitzmagic. and we know that Fitzpatrick can have these kind of games. Over 16 games, you're going to have these games. You're going to have 4 touchdowns, and then you're going to have games where you have 3, 4 interceptions. The question is, over the next 3 games, while Jameis Winston is out, if they can continue to get on a little bit of a roll and doing the things offensively that they're built to do, and they're 3-0 on a team that's under a little bit of pressure, and certainly Dirk Cutter's under pressure, it'll be interesting. I know they're going to say, well, this is Jameis Winston's team or whatever, but I can see after 3 weeks, if they're playing this well, I can see them going, well, you know what, we're going to work Winston in slowly. We don't want to just throw him into the fact, you know, if you can ride a hot hand, as we know Fitzpatrick can get, this is going to be interesting to watch.
All right, look, man, you've had a lot of purple on. We can go back to all that Stanford and all San Diego, all stuff that happened before. But I didn't even know about this reunion thing. You only put one tweet up. I mean, I didn't know about it till 10 minutes ago when you told me about it. Somehow it, you know, it escaped me. I had my own purple things going on in the rain and my wife and all that happening on Sunday. Give me a little lowdown on the Minnesota thing for you. And I know I talked to you. I remember I had you on, you know, out there at the Mall of America. But it's an amazing football thing they've done out there. And my wife was watching the highlights, you know, on the NBC show on Sunday night, and she said, man, that's the one place I'd pay to go watch a game with the whole skull thing and the stadium, and it's vibey and the glass. They've done a really nice job out there, haven't they?
They have. I tell you what, that in that stadium and what they're doing, this is the best game day experience in the NFL. It really is. Between the stadium, the energy of the fans, what they do to orchestrate it, and then their new facility. It's unbelievable. It's not just a facility, because we did a chalk talk on there on Saturday night with a bunch of the players. It's great to see guys. I hadn't seen some of these players in 20 years, but they're building a city, and they're building around their facility. They've got their stadium, which is for training camp and for high school games if they want, is the 3rd largest stadium in the state already. They're building an infrastructure around it, condos, retail. I mean, it's incredible what the Wills they just should get a lot of credit for what they're doing. It's an unbelievable game day experience, and what they're doing for the fans and integrating with the new facility. They've got it going on in Minnesota.
All right, come on, give me a little 98 recap. You know, the last thing you did walking out of there was deal with me. You know, after that championship game, give me some memories of seeing all your friends, and I know you know a lot of it probably was to honor Denny as well.
Yeah, it was great fun. And what was fun for me is in the hotel we were in and on Saturday, all the players coming together. And again, these guys, you know, first off, I couldn't believe how old the players got. You know, I was old to begin with. These guys are now in their 40s, some of them. And you're going, I just tell, God, you guys got old. What the heck happened to you guys? But it was great fun because some of these guys hadn't seen each other in 20 years like me. And it didn't take 2 minutes. They weren't start ragging on one another. And just doing, you know, dealing with each other the way the players do. It was great fun. The camaraderie on that team was something special. You could see it. the group, the function we did on Saturday night, listening to the players when everybody was talking about what do you remember about that year, none of them mentioned anything on the field. They talked about off the field in the locker room and the relationship between the players and the coaches. It was spectacular. It was really fun to go back and reconnect with it on, like you said, ultimately it came up short, but that doesn't diminish the fact that it was really an incredible year for everybody involved.
Well, and you've had a lot of that going on, right? I mean, you have Ray going in the Hall of Fame. There's, this is where you are, right? The old honor. So, look, I'm not going to bring up the Ring of Honor thing because people bring it up with me all the time, but maybe someday, some way, we'll get you down in purple for that. I know there's a reunion coming up in a couple of weeks. We have a lot of that going on around here as well. So, for a place where you didn't win to get everybody together and feel good, that's an awesome thing. And I saw the pictures and I saw the skull thing going on up there. So I know how much affinity you have for Minnesota. You really love that. You own your cabin up there. Last time I had you on, you were up in Minnesota.
It was great to go home. The weather was great and the people, and it was just fun to be a part of.
And a good football team, as you pointed out, right?
Great football game. Minnesota's for real. That defense is absolutely for real, and Kirk Cousins playing just to the strength of that defense to run the ball. He's good.
See you later, Coach. Be well. There he is, Coach Billick. Maybe he Vikes that. Just like that. I think Kirk Cousins is going to take that on. You can find me out on the buyatoyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn radio app. We do come in crystal clear from anywhere in the world. The morning newspaper ships to your email inbox each and every morning at 7 a.m. It's all brought to you by our friends at Planet Fitness and PlanetFitness.com. Don't forget the weekend of October 13th and 14th. The John W. Brick Foundation 5K is happening. They're bringing in Wim Hof with the Iceman Cometh. You can Google that if you find out. I talked to Victor and Lynn Brick last week about that. October 13th and 14th, I turn 50, but you can do a good thing and help out mental health and get yourself fit as well, going out and being a part of all they're doing out there. JWB5K.com. You'll learn more about that. You can find me out in the buyatoyota.com audio vault or anytime, anywhere. Click live on the website to tune in. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.